were a fan of the DC universe before joining the cast of Superman and Lois. Did that bring any added pressure into your audition?
I would say so because I think, definitely going into it, being a fan of Smallville, being a fan of, the Dark Knight trilogy, just a lot of DC in general. I mean, I peg myself as more of a DC guy overall. So I think, yeah, going into the audition process, it was, I wouldn't say it added any pressure though. I'd just say it added excitement because there's things that I've auditioned before, but that were equally sort of pressure inducing. But like in all reality, I mean, I was fine. I was fine. It was just definitely nerve wracking, but no more than any other big audition. It was just really really exciting to even have the opportunity to audition for a role like this.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of different iterations of Superman depicted on both the small and silver screen. How does this show differentiate itself?
It differentiates itself in several ways, but I think first and foremost, just seeing Superman and Lois with kids, and especially two twin boys. Um, it's something we've never seen before, live action and on the screen at all, right? So, I mean, it's just I think that's a big thing, obviously, right there. But then at the same time, I think seeing Superman slash Clark Kent sort of deal with these real problems, these real human problems, because he's not human, he's Kryptonian, he's an alien, but it's like he's dealing with these real grounded human issues, and he's dealing with these problems that every parent has to deal with, and that every and then on top of that, he's Superman, he has to save the world all the time. So for him, I think we're going to see some things thrown at that character that we've never really seen before, and Lois as well. I mean, definitely some things that some really new challenges that they're facing as parents, and as a superhuman, but then again also just as a regular human. It's going to be cool to see. I think people are going to appreciate that even more as time goes on.
Like you were saying, the family dynamic is something that we haven't seen depicted on screen yet. Which of Jonathan's relationships has been your favorite to explore and why?
I think Jonathan's relationship with his brother is super, super interesting because they really love each other a lot and they get along very well for the most part, but they also have their moments. And as time goes on and, the story progresses, I think you're going to see some really interesting stuff with their arcs and how their paths cross. And, I think we're going to see some really interesting interactions and conflicts between them as time goes on. So that's going to be probably my favorite relationship to dive deeper into and continue to explore.
In the first couple of episodes, we see how Jonathan's life is changed as a result of moving to Smallville. As an actor, how did you prepare to kind of tackle that arc?
Definitely. I mean, I think just kind of reminiscing on when I've had to move from the big city to a small town, and friends that have had to make the same move, and for me living in like small towns and having friends that move from the city, whatever, it's just like really, really being cognizant of the changes that have to be made when someone attempts to move like that, and especially as a kid, going into high school. It's tough because you have this group of friends that you you were so close to for so long, and you're just torn away from all that, and it's really difficult to sometimes stay in contact with friends when you make an abrupt move like that, like the Kents did. So I think, but luckily I moved around a lot when I was younger. I moved around. There were times where I would be in a place for like a year, like in Seattle for like a year, and then I moved back down to like Arkansas or Texas, and so I'm pretty used to just kind of moving and going with the flow and making quick changes. So I know how it feels. I was very used to that feeling. So I think I brought that to the character, my own personal kind of anecdotal experience with that.
Audiences will recognize you for your breakout role in Little Fires Everywhere. What did you bring from that set over to Superman and Lois?
Definitely. I mean, I think from Little Fires coming to Superman, I wanted to differentiate a little bit between the two characters because they are similar in a lot of ways. I mean, they're both jocks. They both play sports. Trip plays three sports, and and Jonathan plays sports as well. I'd imagine, the thing is Jonathan doesn't just play football. That's primarily what he plays now in high school. But I'd imagine he's, he grew up playing sports. He grew up playing probably baseball, probably basketball to some degree. I think he was just a very active kid. He probably swims, runs, hikes, bikes. So I think that's something that was a commonality. But then I think I wanted to make sure that when we were actually talking about like the characters and their personalities, that there was a big difference there. So with Trip, I think he's a little more naive. I think he is a little less intelligent. I think that he's also a little more of a follower and not a leader. And I think that Jonathan has a big heart. I think he's a leader, and I think he's pretty smart. I think he's a sharp kid. I think he definitely has his blind spots, but overall, he's a whole different person, and I think we're going to see that as time goes on. So I wanted to make sure that I was bringing that, but at the same time, I think coming from Little Fires was I wouldn't be as I guess comfortable on set here if I hadn't come from such a big show before. Even as a smaller role on Little Fires, I think it really helps me to be able to bring 100% to the character and to the set every day that I go in.
And the CW is well known for its crossover events. If you could pick a show that you'd like to see Jonathan make an appearance on, which would it be and why?
Honestly, this is gonna surprise you because you're gonna think I'm gonna say like Arrow, Flash, Supergirl. Nah, I want to be on Whose Line Is It Anyway? That'd be dope. I mean, you asked CW show crossover, and that'd be the one. But no, I mean, but if it was one of the superhero shows, so like probably Flash, or actually, yeah, probably Flash, because Arrow is the one that just stopped, right? Now I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
I'm totally blanking. I should know this.
No, I was the one that decided. You're right.
Right,
You're right.
right, right. So Flash. There you go.
Yeah, we're only a couple of episodes into season one, but if you had to choose a hashtag to describe the back half, what would it be?
Like the next, sort of the ladder, like what's coming up.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Hashtag hashtag. I mean, to be fair though, I don't have like all the episodes yet. I only have up through 8, so like I can't speak to like the entire thing. Not that I can like give any spoilers, anyways. But I would say intense. Some twists and hashtag twists and turns. Hashtag cliffhanger. There's gonna be some. It's gonna be dope, I think.
And the show's been incredibly well received. What do you think is resonating most with audiences?
I think people want something that's wholesome and that shows real people. And I mean, they don't want any BS. I mean, people are smarter than I think sometimes what is sort of pandered to them. I think a lot of people are sharper than that, and they want to see something that's real and grounded and raw and displays and showcases real issues with mental health, with just parenthood and childhood and growing up, and they don't want to see something that's is a facade of what people really are. They want to see real human interaction, and I think that's something that this show has so far been able to pull off pretty well. Is the dynamics between characters and just how people interact, I think feels pretty natural in the show. And I think and that has to do partially with the writing. It has to do with, I think, some of the amazing actors like Tyler and Bitsy that are just freaking phenomenal in every scene, and just have that they bring that life to the screen. But I think there's a variety of factors that kind of are playing it into why people are enjoying the show very much so far.
And then final question for you. The series was recently picked up for season two. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Where do you want to see Jonathan's storyline head?
I would love to see. I would love to see Jonathan just continue to mature, and regardless of whether he gets powers or not, that's a big thing people have been, I think, talking about. And I mean, regardless of that, I mean, I still genuinely have no idea if that's gonna happen or not. Just me as Jordan, and but even if he doesn't, I think I just want to see him to continue to grow as a character and become more of a hero, hopefully, regardless of what happens to him, in his environment, regardless of whether he gets powers or not. I think it would be really cool, even if he doesn't get powers, to just continue to see him grow as a person and maybe become sort of like maybe more like Lois. Maybe he is just has that big heart. He continues to save people in other ways, sort of like how Lois is trying to expose, the corruption of Morgan Edge I think it would be really cool to see maybe Jonathan kind of go that route and try to solve some kind of crazy, like, figure something out in the story and to do something. It'd be kind of cool.